on, everybody? So today we're working back on the GT project. Kind of do a little bit of an update on what's been going on and what I've been working on. So I got a bunch of new parts. I got my heads back from the machine shop, so I want to show you what we got going on here. So this is the short block, the blown up one. It's spun bearing number 2. So when you spin a bearing, that means your crankshaft is pretty much toast. That bearing is going to take a bunch of material out of the crank, and you got to buy a whole new one. So what I got here is I got this. This is a this is what Subaru sells now as a replacement. This is like a 2010 plus STI crank, which is nitrated. So all Subaru cranks are already forged, but after 2010 and the STIs, they started doing nitrate treated cranks. So it's basically like a heat treated coating. That's why it looks black like this. So it's pretty cool, but now, you know, they just basically kept using this for all of them. So when I gave them my VIN number and I ordered a crank, they just gave me a nitrated one. I didn't order it for an STI, but it's the same crank. It's just a little bit upgraded. So I also picked up a set of these rods. So these are stock STI rods. They're all weight balanced already. So they all weigh exactly the same according to the marks on them, 5.84 grams or whatever. It says G on it. So those are really cheap. These are really strong rods. I mean, these are good to like over 400 wheel on stock rods. It's really the pistons which are the weak point. So I got it. These are actually Rachel's, but these are a used set of Manly pistons that we got out of a block that also had a spun bearing. So they seem fine, but the issue is that these are standard bore pistons, so they fit perfectly in there on a standard bore. So if this block needs to be honed or anything, pretty much won't be able to use these, because then it might slap around anyway. So see, it fits in there pretty good, but I really don't want piston slap, so we still got to figure out an option for pistons. But at least I got crankshaft figured out. My machine shop's going to get me the bearings. I got my rods figured out, and we finally got the heads figured out. So there was a lot of work that needed to be done to these heads. These are B25 casting heads, which are the same heads that they use on a lot of the STI engines and WRX engines. So they're a really, really good cylinder head, but that makes them very expensive. So to buy new casting heads, I think they're like $600 for bare castings, no valve train, nothing in them. So it really came to the point where a decent set of heads goes for about $1,000, and then you still need to make sure all of your valve lash is set correctly, because these are solid bucket lifters. So the valve adjustment is done in the thickness of the bucket. There's no adjustment to be made. Like, there's nothing to adjust besides either changing the thickness of the bucket or shaving down the actual valve or changing the seat, like the seat height. And so long story short, it's very, very difficult to set these unless you want to just buy a ton of shims, or I mean buckets from Subaru, which I think they go for like $20 a piece, and who knows how many you need to buy, and you have to have a micrometer and like measure them all. So instead of doing that, I just had the machine shop do all of that. They kept all the same buckets because all of the exhaust valves on both heads, all the exhaust valves were pretty cooked. Like, all the guides were cooked, because this guy ran this thing without oil, so it chewed up everything. So they polished the cams, got those working, so I didn't have to replace the cams. They redid all the valves on the exhaust sides of both heads. This is the other one, but I don't want to wrap it up. All new exhaust valves, all the guides on all the intake and everything, new valve seats. They cleaned them, decked them, pressure tested them, basically completely rebuilt. So all the valve lash is preset. He said leave everything exactly how it is, and you can double check your lash, and then once it's bolted onto the motor, and we'll actually, you know, it'll work. So you can see, very nice. It's one of those satisfying things ever. So they're pretty much perfect now. So I shouldn't have to worry about that, but that cost me a little over $1,100 for both. Very expensive, about more than double the cost I thought it was going to cost. But they're done, they're ready to go. All I got to do now is worry about a short block, because I was going to get one from Subaru, but Subaru no longer offers turbo short blocks, like a Reman turbo short blocks. So that's what I'm going to do today, is take this thing apart. We get to see the actual carnage on number one. The cylinder one spun that bearing. Take a look at that, get this block ready to go to the machine shop, have him work over it. Hopefully it doesn't need too much work, because I'm already pretty deep in this motor build financially, like double what I thought I was going to be. So let's start taking this thing apart. Most of the motor's already apart. We just got to take, the case bolts out. I'm going to go through and take like all these little plugs out. Make sure you keep everything in the Ziploc, and then we just got to, slowly take all the case bolts on both halves apart. Probably set it up on the bench, clear some room somewhere. I might move this stuff and do it there, and get it. It'll split down the middle. Okay, so it's so cold, my time-lapse camera won't turn on, but I'm just going to start with taking this oil pump off. I doubt it's reusable, but we're going to try. I'm going to take it off, take it all apart. So I'll just take all those 10 mil bolts off, just slide it off and see what it looks like. I'll do this one-handed. It's not. I tried to clean it out, but it's got a bunch of gunk in there. Here we got all our block plugs out. So I'm deleting the oil cooler thing. This is right there because it's full of metal. So we're just working on getting the last couple block bolts out. This one right here. Just got the block on the bench, using a torch to heat up these Phillips screws, and just kind of hitting them with a hammer to try to knock them loose, and then using an impact to get them out. We're going to use the updated part number to make a better kit for this, to replace it, so we don't really need to use the existing bolts. Alright, got that plate off. Oh, wasn't very tight. Now this gives us access to the wrist pins, so we can actually take the pistons out. So you got to get both of those off to get in there. So we're just hammering on the cranks because we're not reusing it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. see how bad this damage is. Not looking good so far. All the mains. This is like metal going through it. Wow. Let's shut this out of the way.
Is it stuck?
Yeah. Oh, look at this rod. Black.
It's so bad. It's like blue. It's kind of cool.
Holy shit.
It's like a Honda tailpipe.
Neochrome. Got my neochrome rods.
Just one.
Yeah, just this one.
I think the other ones are fine.
Yeah, but then it sent metal through. All the bearing journals are all scored up.
Yeah, we can save those 3 rods though. They're fine.
Have little spares. I did already get new ones. So this is scrap. You should take these off with an impact and see how bad this bearing looks. Damn. Look how black and burnt that is. Nope. It was a little over torqued.
Probably just
All
the
the
heat.
heat, yeah. Cap stuff. Oh,
Where's the bearing?
it's gone.
That's what I thought.
Look, it's like literally just welded itself, and that's insane.
Yeah, there's no bearing to even look at.
It was. Oh, I just dropped the last piece.
Oh. I think it's okay.
We can get some more miles out of it. A couple more track days.
Do some 1040 oil. Yeah.
Yeah, some gear oil in it.
I've never actually seen one get to that point.
This is, yeah, this is, I've never seen it this bad. This is crazy.
You must have driven it for a long time like that.
Yeah, how do you, this is all that's left of both bearings. This little piece, there's nothing left. I mean, I know there's a bunch in the pickup, but Jesus. I figured there'd be a shell or something. Okay, so that's pretty much as far down as I'm going to need to break it down. Just taking a look at some of the bearings and stuff, and man, let me get some of these in the light. You can see, like in this one, just has a crazy amount of pitting that went through it, and also like rust. So I don't know. I think it basically just spun this bearing. This is all that's left of it. Turned this rod black, and all that shrapnel just went through the entire oil system and just ruined all the bearings. So I think I saw one little spot where it may have contacted the block right there, but I don't think that's a problem. These case halves should still be good, especially with a brand new crank, because this crank is completely toast. So we are going to keep these rods. This one will go on the wall because it's obviously, it got way too hot to ever use again. When rods get hot like that, they'll tweak and bends ever so slightly, and you won't be able to tell. So definitely can't use it again, but it's a cool, wall ornament. But these all seem to be fine. So we use, STI rods in lots of builds, like I mean, this car has forged rods now, but it used to have STI rods. They're good for, you know, 2.2s or whatever kind of low budget build. So I'll hang on to those because we actually have a few more other blocks laying around, so we can make a matching set. But this one is getting the matching set that I bought out of a 30,000 mile. Let's see, where did I put them? Oh yeah, back here. I got those out of a car that had 30,000 miles on it. The dude went, you know, crazy forged, fully built, you know. So those have already been, you know, way matched and everything. So it's that's gonna come out pretty good. Still undecided on the pistons. There is a ton of scoring on the cylinder walls. Let me grab a flashlight here. So there's some of this you can feel with your fingernail, which that's usually, you know, the general rules. If you can feel it with your fingernail, it's probably too deep. But you can just see like all the metal that's in here. So try to show some of that. So all the cross hatching's gone in those spots, and so the pistons are still up in the air. I'm not sure what we're going to do about the pistons. It would be cool to throw those used forged pistons in there because they're still good and they're cheap. So it's really going to go up to my machine shop in Portland and see what he says. So, but that's going to do it for this little video. Just wanted to keep you guys updated what's going on. When we get the block back, I'll make another video and we can start assembling it. I still got to order, you know, a bunch of stuff, like maybe ARP rod bolts, because that's usually what fails on these stock rods are the bolts. So I might get some of those, might get some head studs. I'm not sure. This is supposed to be a budget build, but like anything with STIs, the budget kind of goes out the window. So, but yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any comments, or if you saw something we didn't see, maybe you have an idea of what happened, of why it spun number 2 so bad, post it in the comments. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.